Bharat mission. So Swachh Bharat, why I am talking about the Swachh Bharat mission and not the Swachh Sarvekshan, I have explained that earlier. I will reiterate that Swachh Bharat mission is the executionable part of the the mission, and the Swachh Sarvekshan is just a survey, or rather the assessment of the progress made by each ULB, and therefore we are not going to talk about the survey part of it, the assessment part of it, or the marks part of it. How many marks we can get, because we have already concluded that our score is not going to be very high. I mean, not very, I mean, it's going to be very low rather. And therefore, there is no point in worrying about the marks as on today. Secondly, the marks cycle, the assessment cycle is a three-step cycle, and all of them are practically over for this year. So try as we might, we are going to influence only 20-25 marks out of 6,000 marks. So we should not worry too much about the struggling for the 20 marks or 25 marks. So let us not worry about that. Let us focus on how to get the system right for the next cycle. And we have plenty of time to get it right, because after the the exam also, there are 3 more months during which there is no assessment as such. So we can actually use the complete 5 months or 6 months of time to start all over and make a fresh start. So that is the basic idea. And so we will start to see, first we will see what is the remaining part of the SBM course. I mean, what needs to be done. And finally, we will take the other 2 aspects which are also part of the SS, Swachh Sarvekshan, and that is the garbage free city, and there is ODF, that is the open defecation free city, and water plus protocols. So everything will be combined in the SS. That is the scheme. So we also need to make sure that we score respectively in all these tests. These tests are independent. The ODF test is independent. The GFC test is independent. The Swachh Sarvekshan is independent. But the Swachh Sarvekshan actually combines everything else. So therefore, we have to score in all of them if we want to score good. So that is why we need to look at how these other tests are also designed. And therefore, fortunately, the scheme is common. Actually, the syllabus is common. Okay, that it is like having 3 different exams based on the same book. So we don't have to study separately for a different exam. So this is going to be only 1 book and 3 exams with 3 different examiners and 3 different boards. So it is like that. Okay, so GFC board is different, ODF board is different, SS board is different, and there are 3 separate examiners, and we have to appear in all 3. Just count it like that. So I will start with the first one, which is the SS, the core test actually. At this point, if anybody has any doubt or any point, then please come forward while I put the slide.
Nagesh?
Yeah, welcome, Ram.
Yeah, I'm there, but at the same time, I'm traveling also, so I don't know how the network are going to be.
Okay, so we
I'll
just
try to be online and see wherever I can also.
Yeah, sure. So we just decided that we'll go ahead. I mean, we have now 29, so that's as good as full attendance, and so we are going ahead with that. And the next 2 weekends are going to be rather lean because people are busy with long weekends, it seems. So we just told them that we will put out those questionnaire and expect them to answer. And there won't be any session for next 2 questions, next 2 weekends.
They can, but they should be ready that all the questions that are
correct
there, and maybe look and other things also to be answered, right?
Yes. So The first one is, the third part of the service level progress. We talked about service level progress, if you remember, which talked about collection and transportation. Okay, now the third part is about, the various things which we'll be seeing today. So SLP, that is the service level progress, part 3, is about sustainable sanitation. I talked about in the past 2 sessions, I talked about WASH programs, that is water and sanitation and hygiene. So this is actually related to that. It is not directly related to solid waste management, but still it is closely linked, and hygiene is the ultimate goal. So we talked about sustainable sanitation as part of the entire picture itself, right? So the first part talks about what is the percentage of households, commercial institutions, establishments, and CTPT. CTPT means now you have to learn using these short forms. These are community toilets and public toilets. The difference being that community toilet is meant for the inmates of a particular area. Public toilet is thrown open to everybody. That's the only difference. Otherwise, they are shared toilets. So these are connected to a closed system such as sewerage, septic tank or soak pit, and twin pit system. So no, there is no open discharge, in the drains or anything like that. So that is the requirement. And all these records, again, this is a recurring theme, as I mentioned earlier, and the data has to be directly uplinked to the Swachh Bharat Mission portal. So we are not allowed to keep the data and at the end of a quarter, month, or fortnight or week or whatever, periodic update. All that is not expected. We have to link it with the SBM portal, and we are already making arrangement for that actually. So this live data will be passed on to the SBM portal. The difference being that once it is gone, you cannot actually manipulate or you cannot change the data. So this is common theme. I will not be repeating. This will keep coming. Next point. Capacity of fecal sludge, treatment plants and sewage treatment plants matches with the total fecal sludge and sewage generated in the city. So that means that, you have to have FSTPs. FSTPs are related to the soak pit. See, the earlier point talked about direct connection to the STP, the sewage treatment plant, or to a soak pit. So when soak pit is used, there is, the fecal sludge is accumulated in the soak pit. So it is taken out once in a year or once in 2 years or something like that between these 2 periods, 1 or 2 years of interval, and it is taken to a special plant, and that is called FSTP. That is the fecal sludge treatment plant, and it is treated there. So it is very thick material which is being treated there. And against that, there is the sewage treatment plant where the sewage is what we see in our, all Kaluves and Raj Kaluves, where we are not supposed to see that, right? So everybody is aware how sewage looks. But the fecal sludge, I don't think many people would have seen. So that is something which, is also mentioned. But as it stands, actually, we do not have a system of soak pits in Bangalore. And if soak pit is provided, it requires a lot of area to take away the water part of it. So I don't think we have, any kind of free land to do that. And that is the reason the, soak pits are not used. So mostly we'll be talking about STPs. We have to focus on STPs only, not FSTP. And therefore, the capacity of STPs have to match the generation of sewage around each area. Now, why I say around each area? Because the water flows down, down slope, right? So even sewage also flows down slope. So if you have a STP upstream of your location, then you cannot send your sewage there. So you have to send it downstream, and therefore another STP downstream is required to treat your sewage. So that is how, so STPs always have to be downstream of the areas which they serve, because every all pipes are gravity fed. They are not pump line, pumped pipelines. So therefore, we have to build STPs in the lowermost areas basically of the city, and therefore the STP capacity, like in terms of million liters per day, or MLD as it is called. So it has to match the generated quantity of sewage in any given area. So this is what it means. So if BWSSB, for example, claims that he has a huge STP, and if that STP is upstream, then that capacity is built for nothing, because it will not be serving anybody. So BWSSB has to build its STP downstream, where the sewage is going to roll down and get into STPs. So that is the significance. And again, the GIS mapping of all STPs and FSTPs must be updated on SBM portal. Next point. Percent of fecal sludge collected or sewage generated from households or commercial establishments or cities and PTs is treated at that plant, whether it be FSTP. FSTP again is to treat the sludge which is collected from soak pits. Okay, and STP is there to treat the sewage, the liquid part of it. And what is the requirement? Scientific processes of fecal sludge and sewage is there. So question is treated wastewater from STP reused and recycled and revenue generated? What is the percentage revenue generated vis-a-vis total sewage generated or total fecal sludge generated? So here is a very, very tough requirement. It is not only enough to just treat the sewage and release it to reach Tamil Nadu. See, this is what we have been doing for years. So what we do is we release this. Earlier, we used to release untreated sewage into Tamil Nadu, and it used to go into all our valleys, all the 3 valleys, Rishabhavati. Then from Vartur Lake also there is a channel outside, and so on. So all that reached Tamil Nadu only finally, and the downstream people were getting all raw sewage. That changed gradually, and we increased our number of STPs, although connectivity with these STP is very poor even today. And so what it is not stopping at that. This model is asking how much of reused sewage is being reused, and what is the financial aspect of that? What is the percentage of that? Okay, what is the revenue generated? And if you are aware of the latest development, government has slapped 18% GST on this reused wastewater also. Earlier it was not there because there was no usage at all. So government did not have to bother about talking about GST for that. But now they have put 18% GST privately. I mean, between you and me, it makes no sense, because if you want to encourage some industry, the reuse industry, then you have to actually apply less tax, not more tax. 18% is probably the highest slab of tax, right? So this is something wrong, and I hope the policy is corrected. But that is the for the future to tell. So there are 4 aspects within this question, that how much of revenue is generated. So first data to be provided is what is the fecal percentage of fecal sludge or sewage treated. Secondly, what percentage of treated wastewater is reused and recycled. Third is percentage revenue generated by reusing or recycling the treated wastewater. Fourth is again data to be linked with SBM portal. Okay, so here there is a little bit laxity given, because this is not a pumped pipeline which supplies water, but it is basically tanker full or something like that, from time to time. So therefore, the data generated is allowed to be in the form of daily log. Daily log of treatment, reuse, recycle, everything is allowed to be daily log, and then it is linked with the SBM portal. And mind you, this last requirement is there everywhere. And if you do not provide as required, I mean on daily basis or real-time basis, then we do not get the mark, even if we provide the data afterwards, because they assume that you are going to manipulate that data. because that is why you kept it with you. So we have to make sure that the live data, fresh data as it is generated is actually uploaded to SBM portal. So that what is known as application interface is to be provided, where live data is uploaded to SBM portal. Point number 3.4, next one. The PTs, urinals, and CTs are clean and user-friendly. See, this is the example of tightening the, or rather making the bar higher gradually, right? Earlier, the requirement said that you have to provide only PTs and CTs. Only toilets were supposed to be provided. Then, starting with this year, I mean 2022 model, they said that yellow spot, that means public urination also has to be prevented, and for that urinals have to be provided. So toilets also and plain urinals, they were supposed to be provided. Now just counting the urinals or toilets are not enough. We have to make sure that they are clean and clean at all times. So this is something which is an additional requirement. So the PTs, CTs, urinal and feedback mechanism is in place for all PTs and CTs, urinals, and linked with SBM portal. This is additional requirement as usual. And GIS data of all CTs, PTs, and urinals must be mapped and updated on SBM portal. It is not simply to say we have 500 urinals and 1,000 toilets. We have to show where they are and what is the status of each. And that has to be there in the, the map. So there will be a dashboard in future, and that will show how many urinals and portals are there. And I believe the whole data has already been integrated with Google Map, and you can actually use it to find the closest urinal or toilet which is available to you. If you are in any part of the city, you can make use of a public toilet where you can visit, and it will show you how to reach there. So that is the advantage of this data actually. Next point, 3.5, is, are all citizens and ULB staff aware about their roles and responsibilities? See, earlier the toilets were there, but they were broken down. They were all dirty. Some of the pots and pans were broken, and there was no water. There was a lot of stinking. And you would have seen that people were actually urinating outside the toilet on the outer wall, right? So all that was tolerated. Now we are asking this question that, first of all, they have to be all clean and neat and clean, and no smell and other issues. And on top of that, what responsibilities are given to citizens and the staff of BBMP and other agencies, and are they aware of that? So for example, the part of this particular scheme talks about 12 different types of citizens. Okay, NGO is one citizen class, for example. So all non-government organizations are also part of the citizens, and they are forming a particular type of body. Similarly, RWAs, that means the apartment resident welfare association, or it may be for independent houses in a locality, there may be RWA. So they are also another body of individual citizens. So like that, there are 12 different categories, which include schools, colleges, and other institutions. So all basically form our citizenry. So they must be getting involved, and they must be aware of what role they have to play. And that role may be just to give feedback or just to raise complaints or whatever. But there is a role given to them, and they must be aware that there is a role to be played by them. So this is what the question is asking. So really the question is, what do you do to make them aware? Okay. Citizens are not automatically, they don't dream up that, okay, tomorrow onwards, those many toilets are available in this area, and what do I have to do with that? If it is not clean, what can I do? So all these things you have to convey to the citizens through, say, social platforms, through advertisements, through multiple means, and all that is actually given in the guide. So we will come to that when we talk about this, right? But the main issue is, do they do we have we actually made them aware of their roles and responsibilities? Next is mechanized cleaning of septic tanks and sewer lines in USB and not manual. That is, see, earlier people were forced to get down into sewers and then they were supposed to do the cleaning, and they were this is one step, only one little step better than carrying the night soil on their heads, right? Which was the worst thing to happen actually. So we passed that stage, but we are not much better off because many people have to get into the shit and they have to clean the sewers. And many times people actually get overwhelmed with the gas which get developed there, and they die also. So they work in a very dangerous situation, and therefore there is a ban on that activity. And so the question is whether mechanized cleaning of these sewers and sewer lines and septic tanks is arranged for, and whether it has got institutionalized. That means it is not happening on and off, but 100% of the work is done through mechanized cleaning. And ULB must meet the basic conditions to operationalize the services. What does it mean by that? So you have to have enough jet cleaning, enough that robotic cleaning machines or whatever. I mean, whatever is designed to clean up our sewer systems and septic tanks has to be there. The vacuum trucks, whatever. I mean, there are a lot of equipment which are designed for this purpose, and they have to be in adequate numbers, and they have to be stationed in all wards of the city. If it is not available in any particular part, they will again revert back to the old manual system, and they will violate the new requirement. So therefore, we have to make sure that all wards have all these equipment and they are in working condition. Finally, all workers, including informal workers, are engaged in liquid waste management. Liquid waste management means sewage and sludge. Okay, so put together, it is called liquid waste management. So liquid waste management have been linked with social welfare schemes and trained on their job role. So, for example, people who are called up to clean up the STPs or sewer lines or the soak pits, they have to be fully trained and they have to be given social welfare scheme. Like, for example, if they fall sick or if they are killed, then what kind of benefits are provided to them. So this not only for BBMP employees or BWSSB employees, but everyone who is engaged in this activity. So we have to make sure that all of them are identified, they are given certificates of training, and they are made aware of how they are supposed to do the job in a safe manner and an efficient manner, so that they do not come to a harm while doing their job. And they are given adequate equipment, and they are actually covered if eventually they are hurt, or if they die, then they are paid adequate compensation. So this is the basic requirement. Any questions so far?
So just one thing, you are talking about public urinals maintaining, right?
Yes.
This has been outsourced or it is being cleaned by the BBM?
Good question. Any other question?
So is the manual cleaning and scavenging stopped, right? It is supposed to be mechanized and we are not supposed to involve labors for that. That's what I have understood.
Yes. See, manhole is just the entry for sewer lines. So when I say sewer lines, it includes the manhole, obviously. Now coming to the previous question, I will take any other questions also later, but let me clarify that part actually. Can you please clarify the question again so that everybody has focus?
Yeah. What I wanted to know is, see, now we have many urinals and toilets, okay? But is this being maintained by outsource or BBMP?
Now, one question. That way, every operation need not be done by the ULB itself. When it says ULB has to manage, it has to be either managed through own staff, or it has to manage through contract, or it has to manage through PPP, any partnership. See, these are our higher level layers who you know, the stakeholders and the shareholders. That concept does not apply to the day-to-day operation. So all these provisions are for day-to-day operations. Are your CTs and PTs clean or not? No, they are not. They are not actually looking whether it is Sulabh International or whether it is BBMP itself, or whether it's a third-party local, you know, operator who has taken upon himself to do it.
But in some places they charge it.
Yes, so that part is not.
That is for maintaining, is it?
No. That is the, you know, charging is the commercial part of it, right? But what is addressed here is the maintenance, that the cleanliness and hygiene. See, again, I will take all of you back to the WASH program. It is water. Water does not mean only, you know, sewer water and dirty water. It is drinkable water also. Safe drinking water is also part of W, right? So WASH. So that is water, sanitation, and hygiene. Okay, so this three terms, and A stands for and. Okay, so WASH is a comprehensive program. So we have to deal with hygiene in everything, whether it is drinking water, supply and you know, prevention of contamination, to, you know, different situation under which the, you know, clean water is required. For example, schools, especially schools for poor people. Then you know, you have to talk about sanitation, and sanitation primarily we see it as, you know, CTs and PTs or private toilets, but it is basically linking everything, right? Because sanitation actually is, you know, again, this, you know, it covers the entire usage, and, you know, to make sure that there are no flies, there are no mosquitoes, there are no other you know, disease bearing insects. So everything comes under this WASH program. So you have to make sure of all this, regardless of who pays for it and how it is financed. That part we are not even talking about, right? We have seen that we did not talk about who is going to finance, except for the, you know, the solid waste management part of it, where it was very clear that when you know, the entire charges for collection, transport and everything, treatment has to be taken through user fees. So it is government at local level, or government at state level, or government at country level is not going to pay for it. You produce.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not talking about pay or this thing. Just if I am right.
I'm just linking it together. This question is very nice because it also gives me a chance to, you know, link everything together. So we have come to this, you know, liquid management, waste management, but I want to also refer back to the solid waste management, where the user fees were applicable. So here also it is not barred. If you have to pay for, you know, pay per use is not at all, you know, frowned at, right? So pay per use is a very welcome idea, because see, any, you know, generally PTs are required where? It is not required in our apartments or anywhere. They have their own toilets, right? And there are some staff toilets also. So where are they required? They are required in public places. So when public place users are using it, the same person is not going to use it for maybe next year, one more year, right? So it is okay if we ask for user charge.
Yeah, that is okay. That's okay. No, my thing is whether this is maintained by government as outsourced to maintain this toilets and the urinals, or it is directly run by BBMP.
No. There is absolutely no restriction on any kind of management. And going forward, this is going to be outsourced only. The direction is going to be outsourced based. So it is not going to be 100%.
But just to answer your question, Sujay, there are two models that are running presently in the city. One is they have identified a few Shauchalayas and all of that, some few organizations which have been doing it for a long time, and a lot of them have been handed over to them.
Okay.
And they are not being, when you say outsource, it means that BBMP is paying them some fixed amount per month.
Yeah, like contract, like
that is not
outsourced.
happening. That is not happening.
Okay.
So they are expected to collect the user fee and actually run the toilets out of that same money, which is why they are so badly maintained. So there is only some capital expenditure, repairs, maintenance, and all of that, which is taken care of by the BBMP. But the actual running operations and all of that, in most cases, it is being taken care of by the operators who are given assigned the territorial permission to run the toilets, but are not paid any O&M from the
from the BBMP.
Yeah.
So whatever they get, they have to maintain that.
Yeah.
Correct. So if they have taken up some contract in the sense of operating and maintaining a particular CTPT, in that case they have to fulfill those requirements. And finally, whatever money is exchanged between BBMP and them, it may be either way. See, if there is a lot of usage, for example, if you take public toilets in, say, Chamra, not Chamarajpeta, our city market area, there are a lot of good users. I mean, well-to-do users who would willingly pay, and those must be profitable PTs. On the other hand, the PTs or cities rather, which are in slum areas, they will not have enough earnings. So this financial model has to be settled between the operator and the ULB, and then that has to be financially settled.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, so this part is over. Now the other category, part 2, that is the certification parts. This forget the 2000 marks, that is getting revised. I will update that later on. So what is the first thing? GFC star rating. So garbage free city. So this actually works in a different way. I will come to it. I will shortly explain how this particular scheme works. But this is an external certificate which you have to pass, and you have to actually count your marks there in that exam, and it is counted in the Swachh Sarvekshan. So this is actually double counting. Now this to give you a picture, actually now this is being revised. Coming model will streamline everything, but current model has got GFC star rating as part of Swachh Sarvekshan. In future, it may or may not be removed depending on the interaction between different ministries, because these schemes are run by different ministries, and if they don't see eye to eye, then these schemes will remain. So how this will pan out, we can't tell in advance, but this is how it is. Next is the open defecation free city plus water plus status. So this itself has got 3 different certification. One is called ODF plus. Second one is called, next higher is called ODF plus plus, and the final, the highest level is called water plus. So it is, as I told you, this is all graded examination. That means the lowest level is ODF plus now. Till last year, there was one more level called ODF, not ODF plus. So ODF was the most basic level. Then came ODF plus. So now that ODF is, bare minimum expectation, it is not considered worthy of a certificate. So what they are saying is ODF plus and ODF plus plus will only have certificates. And water plus is at the highest level. We will see what are the conditions for that. So these are the external certifications which are added to the SS marks. Now comes the most important part, and now the citizen-based, citizen feedback-based, part starts, where I feel that our group basically can play the most vital role, because there is some operational issues are mostly to be handled by BBMP or BWSSB or KSPCB, depending on what part of the system we are describing. For example, sewerage line, UGD line management is with BWSSB. Solid waste management is with the BBMP, and medical waste is with the KSPCB. So they will have to make all arrangements and execute them in at a watertight fashion. So that is a given. But what about the citizen feedback? So that is where our group can play a very major role, and play not only in getting the feedback, but first of all conveying the program, conveying the merits of the program, conveying the the importance of this program for the citizens' health and life, and getting them on board, involving them, and so on. All this program basically is not being done by BBMP, KSPCB, or BWSSB. There are hardly any interactions or outreach in the public. Okay, this is where public faces like us can play a much better role, and we I hope that going forward we'll be having a very active role in this. So far there is no such program, but we have to chalk out a much bigger program to achieve what I'm going to describe. So the first one is the citizen feedback is collected for using 4 random questions, and any of the citizens will get a call, and there are 10 different questions, and out of that 4 are selected randomly, and they are given to, they are asked to a given respondent, like have you heard of your the system, and how satisfied are you with the system, and things like that, regarding all whatever we saw till now. So garbage free city, open defecation free city, or water treatment, sewage flowing in streets. All these questions will be covered in this, and 4 questions will be asked. Based on the answers, there is a fixed number of people they select in depending on the population size, and the answers basically determine how much marks we get. The second part, citizen engagement. So first part is within that, Atmanirbhar Ward, or RWS, with 0 collection of wet waste by the ULB. So that means in a given ward or in a given apartment, the wet waste is not sent out to BBMP. So that is the criteria. So with the active role of RWS and citizens, 100% wet waste is processed within the ward only. So this is one criteria which we have to meet. So basically what it means is, if we have to pass this test, then we have to work towards it, right? So we have to actually contact all the RWAs. RWAs not necessarily mean apartments only. They may mean all villas or independent houses, and local population, which get together and decide that okay, we will not send out wet waste. Now, how do you generate interest, public interest in that area? How do you convince them that it is worthwhile activity? How do you associate pride in doing that? So that is the task of the volunteer group. This is not going to be done by any government agency, right? You can see by its nature, it's not going to be done by anybody. It has to be done by the volunteer representative of the public itself. Second point is, ULB makes any influential person as their brand ambassadors for this period. So this is one more criteria, that you have some well-known people, Rahul Dravid or whoever. So they are contacted, they make their brand ambassadors, they appear on billboards, and they say, I do this, you also do this, something like that. So this brand ambassador actually goes around, appears in events. He actually promotes the cause and then promotes the compliance, because when people see that their hero is doing something, they also should do it. So that is how, right? We have seen that many film stars actually their fan clubs arrange for blood donation and things like that. So why do they do it? In the name of the star, right? Similarly, here also the brand ambassador is supposed to inspire people to do these good things. Third is, ULB gives recognition to startups, entrepreneurs or industries, religious or cultural institutions, and voluntary organizations and other civil societies. See, this is what I meant by categories of citizens. These are all different categories. Startup is one category, entrepreneurs and industries is another, religious institutes and cultural institutions are another, voluntary organizations and other civil societies. These are all different types of, civilian bodies. So, ULB should start a award system to recognize the work done by them. Okay. So what it means is, recognition come afterwards, but first of all, ULB is looking out actively for this kind of work. And they will have their own assessment. They will have their own, collection of applications. Somebody proposes and they go through the application and they send somebody to assess how good is the work. And finally, they declare the result. So all that is required at the backside of this program. But this activity has to be done. Next point is ULB has facilitated conducting such innovative technology challenge. Again, this when things are going on, people are getting into, mechanical cleaning of sewerage is going on. CTPTs are being cleaned, roads are being cleaned, garbage is being taken to and processed. So all that, is there a public participation in any of these activities? And are innovative technology invented by the public, the member of public? It is not a commercial thing we are talking about. We are talking about the public actually contributing that, this is, for everybody's good, and I will, do this. So that can again, have any of the 12 categories of people, which is individual citizens can do it, NGOs can do it, or any other entity. So this is how the solid waste management and liquid waste management, that means sewerage, that means sewer lines, or garbage of any type. There are 6 types of garbage. So any type, if somebody works to reduce, recycle, or reuse, so then, this is the, occasion for appreciating that effort and putting out new inventions in the process. 5th point, the SS 2022 jingle, movie, poster drawings, murals, and street play competition. So basically, it's a celebration, right? It is basically not something, a drudgery kind of thing, but actually we celebrate it. Like, for example, we have held Lake Habbas. In several lakes, we hold annual Lake Habbas, where we explain to the public that they should also join. Similarly, in HSR layout, for example, we had Bikers Day. So the bikelists who are living around, they come with their bikes and have a round of the lake and things like that. And we also invite hawkers and other this one to have a fun fair kind of thing, where street is closed off and we have a very great day, full day. Children also come, they do rangoli on the road and things like that. So a lot of celebration takes place. So similarly, Swachh Sarvekshan as a program basically is highlighted with a jingle or a movie. Somebody makes movies, YouTube movies or whatever, short movies, poster or drawings, mural making or rangoli kind of thing, and street play competition. So this basically is also suggested as something to be done. Again, I don't think BBMP is going to be a good host of such activities. This better come from somebody, from the public side. Next point is ULB has identified SBA impacts on the citizens' life and updated each impact with pictures. Page note updated on the SS 2021 portal. Now, what is this? See, at the beginning of this series, I had actually pointed out that, we had a huge number of improvements, including how many toilets were established, how many, new lines were laid down, how many STPs were added, how many public toilet and how many community toilets were added, so all these achievements were I highlighted. There is yet another slide which talks about how many, hours were saved when people don't fall sick, because the sanitation improves, hygiene improves, so therefore people don't fall sick, right? So that is counted as, number of man hours which are saved, because the working environment becomes healthy, so the city becomes healthy and people don't fall sick. When they fall sick, those many hours are lost. So year on year, the number of hours are counted, and the increased numbers of working is attributable to these hygienic conditions. And so we have to actually find out what are the end improvement in our public life, what is the before and after picture, and we have to highlight that. And obviously the SBM authority will use that to motivate others, saying that, if Bangalore can improve this much, why can't you? So similarly, if Indore can improve so much, why not Bangalore? If Mysore can improve so much, why not Bangalore? These questions come up actually. And that will come up only when we share this data. That, okay, after doing all this hard work, what achievement did we have in terms of saved man hours, less illness, better quality of life, before and after pictures of a given locality. All that counts as improvements. Next point is recognition of champions driving such change in the ULB amongst ULB staff and sanitary workers, ward councillor, CSR leads, NGOs, and self-help groups, etc. So this is somewhere in between, right? On one hand, we talked about the public ambassadors, brand ambassadors, point number 2. So any influential person working as brand ambassador, best example is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan working for, Do Boond Zindagi Ki, or COVID, that Do Gaz Hai Zaruri, right? So that campaign ran very well because of Amitabh Bachchan. So similarly, we can also find some famous personality and make our brand ambassador. But here we are talking about champions who are working inwards. That is the ULB staff, sanitary worker, directly BWSSB workers, ward councillors. That means all our MLAs and corporators, CSR leads. Now see who are CSR leads. The companies have their CSR manager. So is anybody contacting them and leading them to believe that, okay, this is a worthwhile area in which you can invest, right? What is happening is, right now, health and education happens to be the topmost priority area for all CSR managers. So they anyway are giving money for education. That means helping school in some way, or the CTPT's construction of them, or modernization or revamping and so on. So there has to be effort to cultivate their support. So all this counts as, recognition of champions who do this. It is not the government's job, basically. Next point is Swachh Wards ranked covering assessment of all hotels, schools, hospitals, RWAs, mohallas, government offices, market association. See, look, these are all public places, right? Where people are, allowed to go. Hotels, schools, hospitals, RWAs, okay, mohallas. Mohalla means streets, basically. Government offices and market associations. So they basically, have to be ranked. Why they have to be ranked? Because there has to be internal competition, that who is better than the others, and that only will motivate each street to become better than the others, right? So that involves keeping not only clean, but all well decorated also. So that is where the, all the wall paintings and other effort to garnish, the surroundings, landscaping, all that comes in, and that actually generates the pride in our own area. It is not like we sweep all the garbage and throw it in our neighbor's place. That kind of surreptitious cleanliness is not going to work. So we have to make it clean. Not only that, but I mean, you would have seen, many of you would have seen in Tamil Nadu and other places, and even in here, I have seen in many Tamil areas, they actually sprinkle water in front of their house and make rangoli with rice powder, I believe. So I don't know what it is called, but that is actually a very routine practice. They decorate the outside of their homes. I have not seen that practice in, say Gujarat, Maharashtra, and other places, but definitely in Tamil Nadu I've seen. So I don't know whether in Karnataka villages they do it, but that is something which is worth emulation. So this is that point actually, that we have to not only make ourselves pretty, but we have to enter a competition, and there is a city level award saying that, this particular area is the most beautiful area and cleanest area. And that spirit will spread across the city and make the city clean. So in general, you would have seen that this is all about participation, motivating public by using the people's own assets, people drawn from public itself. It is not, the motivators are not coming from outside and not parachuted on us. We have to motivate ourselves and we have to motivate our other people, So that is the model. At least one zero waste functions has to be held between October and November 2021. That is called the zero waste coming out of the venue. That is the criteria. So when we have any particular major event, there should be no waste, because everything is put to good use basically, right? So this is something which we are supposed to achieve. So in Bangalore, we have to then, when they put this demand, what do? We basically start scrambling together, like, who will do it and when is the next event? Can we make it zero waste? So in that effort, maybe more than one events will become zero waste event, right? So this is how we basically encourage we nudge the people to become zero waste generators. Because in the effort to make one zero waste event, we actually end up making almost every event as a almost zero waste event. So that is the basic idea. This will get tightened further. Obviously, next year they will ask for more. So, right, this is just the beginning actually. Then PTs and CTs prominently display SBM messages designed by the ministry or ULB around usage of PTs and CTs with SS 2022 logo. Now, what does it mean? So you would have actually, probably some of you will remember that at one point of time, India had launched the, population control program, and you could see such logos behind trucks and, practically all vehicles, which are public transport vehicles, bache do hi achhe and small family, happy family kind of thing, right? So those messages are also there for the SBM, the Swachh Bharat mission. That hygiene actually means something, what are the benefits and so on. So those messages have to be displayed, and the best place to do it is in our community toilets and public toilets, right? So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to put up a board, a billboard or whatever, and a hoarding or a backlit board or something, where these messages are permanently displayed. And the visitors will obviously get the message that what is happening. And when they are utilizing a well-appointed city or PT, which is very clean, airy, and there is no stink, and they are pleasantly surprised, they actually look at the message and they carry it around. So they become your brand ambassador and they convey the message further, saying that, oh, I have seen a toilet which is very, very nice, not the usual stinky one which we normally avoid. So this is the attempt to popularize the CTs and PTs and the program itself, using CTs and PTs as the place where the message is broadcast. And finally, the real PR exercise, that the hoarding, billboards, wall writing, murals, mascot, messaging on commercial vehicles and artifacts are visible in all commercial and public areas of the city. This is not only limited to CTs and PTs, but BBMP from time to time actually puts up these ads in, let us say, metro, public buses, and behind autos and things like that, right? So that the message is totally understood by everyone. And it is topical in the sense of, say, for example, we are launching some program. So poster declaring that program should be circulated in the city. Say our FM radios can also, broadcast their special programs where the commissioner or, one of us volunteers actually comes and explains what it is, what we are supposed to do. Please join us. We have a cash prize or things like that. So these are basically outreach programs to be had to, spread the message that what needs to be done in general and what needs to be done in connection with a particular event which is held throughout the year. So these are the basic mechanism to engage the citizens. Are there any questions related to this?
Yes, sir. One question on the fourth point. That Swachh Innovative Technology Challenge. Actually, it is over, right, sir?
See, we should not aim for the past cycle. We should only, aim for the future. And not only that, this is not an annual cycle, mind you. This assessment is done annually, but we are supposed to do it, on a routine basis, on a daily basis, right? Just like, when we work in an office, our increment and promotion comes once in a year, but we actually go daily, right?
Yes, sir. I have a doubt whether that ULB has to can do it, or we have to follow what the central government.
This is what I am telling. So this is, if you look at these points, do you think the ULB do it and do it well? I think this is our group's work basically. Nobody but our group and like people will have to do.
So we have to involve, right? And
yes.
We have to citizens also.
We have to be the drivers. We have to be the drivers.
Yeah,
I'm not saying getting involved. This is only our job. Let us say.
We have to drive.
If we do that, marks will be added, or only the central government what they give. If we do that, will be considered.
No. Central government does not do anything whatsoever. There is nothing to be done by central.
But there is a point here, Nagesh. See, if you look at point number 1. Atmanirbhar Ward RWA. In my opinion, in Bangalore, we call this as the zero discharge ward. So the word here, Atmanirbhar, either Bangalore has to say that this is in the Bangalore model, we call it as a zero discharge ward, and we have a process to enable it. Number 1.
Number this
2,
is a very good.
Come to the Swachh Innovative Technology Challenge. We are all various groups within the city are carrying out, like for instance, if you take the hackathon. Hackathon is it's a innovation technology challenge. It has been going on for the last 5 years.
So it is no longer innovative.
We have never linked it to.
Innovative phase lasts only in the first cycle, right? Afterwards, it becomes routine. So basically,
it has been done across various subjects. It's topical.
Yeah, but I mean, if you change the subject and do the same, can you call it innovative and claim marks? That's the question. So
because it's a different topic. It's a different.
Okay, leave it open. But my point is that there are many points where ULB.
No. My point is slightly different, Nagesh. My point is, though the format of the Swachh Bharat is that it should be called Atmanirbhar, it should be called Swachh Innovative. We as a city, though we are doing a lot of these activities, have not plugged it into the Swachh Bharat system. This
is the plugging actually, and this plugging is actually, you just imagine on one hand there is this, assessors and the evaluators are not part of the system at all. Okay, they will come and evaluate us. That's it. They don't play a role.
My point is not that. I understand.
Let me complete the picture. So there is the ULB. Okay, so till now, all the things they were supposed to manage everything, and they were supposed to do it, and we were not much involved in that, except to help and at the last mile connectivity type of thing, that whether it is being delivered properly or not, give a feedback so that they can improve, that kind of thing. But here is the thing where, again, see, you will see practically everywhere the ULB is supposed to do something. Right. So, for example, declare the best ward, the best street, and some champion or something. But they do not have the flair to do all this.
No, I agree. My point is simply this. My point is we are doing activities in Bangalore under other names. Now, if we have to record this as an activity under the Swachh Bharat, then we have to tell or write to the Swachh Bharat fellows saying, we don't call it Atmanirbhar Ward, but we call it Zero Discharge Ward. We don't call it Swachh Innovative Technology Challenge, but we call it Hackathon. So whatever activity has been done under the head of Hackathon should be considered for the particular point number 4.
Yeah. See, this problem will also come when we start applying for GFC and ODF and Water Plus. Okay.
Yes.
Because the same terminology is not used by the other people.
Correct.
Simply because these are different ministries and they have engaged different consultants. Okay. So what we have to do is give a local name. Why not local name? Why English?
Yeah, but they are not recognizing it if we give a local name, no?
No, I don't think. What is important is, does it satisfy the criteria? And we should carry conviction of that.
No, then BBMP should have submitted these as activities under this particular head, which also.
Yeah. They have to correlate number 1. And see, for example, for GFC, they have to use some other, term to qualify the same activity as for scoring there. So that will happen. See, what is more important is, do we do that activity or not?
Sir,
Swachh Innovative Technology, whatever is there. Last year, BBMP has recognized few technologies like that. I think the BBMP has to, to be updated. Whatever the Madibala market or whatever market, whatever hackathon, whatever innovative technology that we feel this is innovative, should be updated to the ULB. ULB has to facilitate. Felicitate. Yeah.
Felicitate. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, recognize this as a innovative technology and give the certificate, and that will be recorded by the ULB under their targets.
Correct.
So last year they gave for Trashicon.
All we have to do is start pushing these out under these particular points, saying these are activities, Zero Discharge Ward activities are Atmanirbhar Ward. Hackathon activity is Swachh Innovative Technology Challenge.
So mapping has to be done, number 1, and it has to be enough documentation has to be generated to prove that it was associated from the very beginning. We are not palming off something as something else, right?
No, because I feel the challenge here, from what I have seen, and I've been talking about this for some time now, because we have so many organizations here in Bangalore who are carrying out so many different activities, like the Angli Indian Fellows, like Anirudh's organization, like the Parivartan Fellows. They give it all kinds of different names, and each organization has its own style of carrying out the activity. Yes. It is not funneled into the resource or the listing of the ULB, and therefore ULB is not recording it and submitting it to the Sarvekshan Fellows.
True, so and the reason for that is that they are not looking out for such achievements on the state level, and that is where the volunteers actually can do a yeoman service, right? Because we have to tell them, look, this group is already doing this category work, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it is up to us now. Whoever does it under whatever individual organizational head, we should now start categorizing these as it is under point 1, it is under point 2, it is under point 3. So that we are able to build that list of activities that have been carried out in the particular year.
Correct. Now, let me ask a counter question. See, we must be having a master list of such NGOs and SHGs and all that, right? So we can contact them as a broadcast mode or whatever. We can hold a seminar. We can call a hubba or whatever. Okay, major event where everybody gets together in Freedom Park, let us say. And we combine everybody's strength. We combine everybody's strength to map out who is doing for what, and we identify where such effort is appreciated and where it is actually recorded, right? So this can be easily done. It only needs a one-time mapping, and later on we can do supplementary mapping as and when required. But we can easily do this.
Yes. I think that is really the first level activity that we have to do.
So if you remember, the solid waste management was brought to one, common platform by Kalpana Kar, by, bringing everybody to solid waste management hubba. I mean, that fair, right?
Yeah.
right. So all schools, colleges, industries, everybody converged.
Correct.
So that is what is required now.
Yeah. Sir, 1 second. My doubt was because it is here, it is mentioned that the Ministry of Housing Urban thing will design and conduct the challenge. So my doubt was, can ULB throw it a separate thing, or what was given by the Ministry of Housing and Urban that needs to be considered, because it
No,
is
which
just given
challenge? Which challenge?
the fourth point, sir, that is same thing we are talking. Swachh Innovative Technology Challenge. Under that, it is written, the Ministry of Housing Urban will design and conduct the challenge. And if you have conducted, and only the ULBs will facilitate that thing that is they have written. So my question was, if a ULB throws a separate entity, will that be considered for the marks or not? That is, they have provided 70 marks for the same.
No, this is not a central scheme. And so ULB has to done its own, and they have to say that I received so many proposals, I promoted them this way. For every winner, there are multiple people who basically start thinking in those lines, and they probably end up having a permanent business in that line, correct? So this is the indirect benefit of having such challenges, that once you throw the challenge, it doesn't stop there. So this is
ULB separately can do it.
Yeah,
and it will be considered.
Yeah. By the way, I have actually raised such questions.
They have also given the challenge, sir. So that's why I asked.
No. By the way, I have actually compiled such questions myself, and I have raised them to the SBM, project. Mission director, and I hope to discuss this. And we will know what are the resolutions, because there are gray areas which I cannot also honestly answer, right? I mean, because this is what they have said. So even assessor also will have this gray area, and they will also try to give marks any which way. So that subjectivity can be taken out by clarification, right? So we will do that. And
Sir,
that is why I am saying that if people have more questions or doubts, or we say that, okay, this is ambiguous and not really, clarified, we can get it clarified through, our network.
Sir, with respect to this point number 1, it's zero collection and the wet waste by the ward management and all. See, I had proposed in my, because we are in Saram Vishweshwaraya layout, still it is not occupied fully. The resident is very less, and we have a lot of buffer zones in Nala buffer zones as well as the lake buffer zones. I proposed, I just asked them, I will establish this wet waste processing by having vermicompost or something. Just give us one block, give me one block, this wet waste. But BBMP people are not ready to compile with our proposal. So they are not ready to cooperate.
You would have heard of the KCDC thing, right?
Sir?
You would have heard of the problem with the existing plants, which neighbors actually start complaining about flies and stink and all that kind of thing, because the operation is not very clean.
No. See, let us start as a
on
a trial basis. We can start with one block.
No, that is what. So basically, there is a perceived problem in this field, and not only that, but if you are very sure that there are buffer zones, then they cannot be given for such purposes. There is a ban, court order, against this. NGT has banned any activity of this kind, although they appear to be public good activity, but they are all banned actually. So you can't do it. So the only this
otherwise we can use the park areas, sir. Park areas where where the place available then to process this, because
so see, basically the last line actually points out that ULB may assist with creating processing facility within the ward, right? So this
even BDA
is a handshake.
Is not making any provision for this.
That is at present.
New layout they are farming, no?
That
they
is
don't
at
have
present.
Any such plan for the waste processing centers to be established, and they are supposed to have that civic community site only for that purpose.
This is going to be your homework actually. See, this is why I am actually spending so much of time on this particular topic, on 3.2. citizen engagement, because I see our group to be bang in the middle between BBMP and citizens, right? So all such ideas, what you actually described, and which are actually not progressing because of one problem or the other, they have to be sorted out here. And these are the gap areas which we will like you to identify and propose how they can be resolved.
Okay, sir, sorry to interrupt you. Hello, sorry to interrupt. This is Manjunath. Actually, the sir who was spoken previously, there is a site in Binnipet where the banana mandi is there. There is a platform, everything has been prepared, but BBMP is not opting that. Even I checked with BBMP West also, they told they don't have a fund. Like vermicompost they have, and they have plenty of space also.
Yeah. So lack of funds is a very major issue even in lake maintenance. It is a major issue in solid waste management.
Sir, it is not.
You name it. I mean, it is there, but then we have to actually work around. You know,
yes, sir.
If we say that there should be enough funds, so that is not a solution. That's a wish list.
So when you say which areas is east, is it?
No, that comes under west. That comes to Swayamprabha, madam.
Where?
No,
okay. Binnipet area.
And also there
I would request that
because west has got more compared to.
No, we are not currently solving a specific issue. We are taking these as examples of how we can proceed under a particular clause. We discuss with an example, right? So we basically think of, you know, and in general, I am going to put it to you, like, you know, how you will do it, given if this entire thing is handed over to you, that you achieve this as a group, then how would you like to get it done? And what kind of support you will want from BBMP? And unstinted support. See, basically at the end of that, they say, oh, good idea, but no fund for that. Then there is no point.
So Manjunath, we have to compile the list of all these ideas that you have and proposals that you all have given. We also have a few others which have been worked on. Compile with it and start pushing for it. We'll do it. So please bring this up in the next review meeting whenever we do it, or just message and then one of us directly with the details. We'll take a look at it and.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, I heard that KCDC is not properly working, but I worked for KCDC. They have it. But the thing is, due to their management, they could not do it. But I worked with them. They are fantastically they worked because
that's the point. That's the point. You know, there was a hue and cry about this thing.
The problem with them is leachate.
No. There was two problems. One is the issue about stink and the strewn garbage across because of the vehicles.
100% I challenged it and I removed. I am the person who removed it. Now also I work for this Chiknamangala plant where 100% there is no smell now. I've been working on
that is the point. See, improvement in the plant versus closing down the plant.
No, we have done it. Now then my next task is to have to take it for Subrayan Palya, but I don't know, there is a real problem with management and BBMP.
That's right. But this should not be taken as
Nagesh.
So there was another issue with the RDF also.
Nagesh, right? This thing we need to put that has to be a different one, Nagesh.